Welcome to Shots with Lexin. Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Shots with Lexin. I'm here with this random dude I found on the side of the street with this really cool pajama jumpsuit on. Who doesn't like mac and cheese? So this is Matt. You might know him or not. Well, now you'll get to know him. And he's the owner. Do you still call yourself an owner or CEO? Or
Founder and Presidente.
Founder and Presidente of meetings. So he brought his amazing whiskey, but as now he knows, I never drank whiskey. I've never tasted whiskey in my whole life.
What an honor, let me tell you, to be here
to be
in the beautiful town of Embrun and have your first whiskey experience with me. Wow.
It better be good. So we're going to start with, if you want to show it off to everyone listening, it looks like a nice bottle. It looks proper and professional.
It is.
So hopefully it's...
made by Top Shelf Distillers in Perth. So a local distillery, locally made, of course. As you know, we both love to support local.
Is that your signature on there?
It is my signature.
That's
right
so
there.
sick.
Yeah.
That's such a flex. Like,
Man, I busted my ass off for 10 years. It's their 10-year anniversage whiskey. I got to flex a little bit,
a little bit. You know? Of course, you have to be proud.
As you know, all the hours that go into it. So
no, just one or two. It's fine. It's easy. What do you mean? So we're going to... Pop.
Careful with your words there, Lexi.
Okay. Oh, here. Do you want? Oh my goodness.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Is that enough?
Well,
is that too much?
No, a proper shot. You still have to do it properly.
That's it.
Okay. After when you'll pour the sipper though, I can pour it on the other side, so it's like a promo shot for you,
nice.
For your logo in front,
okay,
you know,
cool.
properly. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna do a little. I have my Pepsi chaser just in case that I don't react well. I think I should be fine. I'm a tequila.
Just breathe. Let it slowly go down. There's gonna be a slight burning sensation in the chest. It'll warm you up, get you excited for the podcast.
Okay.
Let's go.
How do you shoot your shot?
Well, we could do that and then down, or we could go around arms. We could do whatever. It's your first time tasting whiskey, so like it's got to be an experience, right?
Okay, it's always good. I think just with your jumpsuit, it's going to be an experience. That's fine. Okay.
So cheers.
Cheers.
Down.
Yo, that's good.
Thank you.
What, you made it? Are you sure?
I had to try 16 different whiskeys to decide which one I liked.
Oh, wow.
So we had to buy a full barrel, like the big ass wooden barrels. Yeah. And so we went down to Perth. I had a DD, obviously. 16 different whiskeys. So yeah, we tried 16 different whiskeys, everything from the lightest color to the darkest color, different flavor profiles, different ingredients, different types of casks, different age of casks. So like from, so this is a virgin cask. So it's the first time that this cask was used to hold a whiskey. Okay. They had some casks in there that was used by Jack Daniels. And by Crown Royal. So you taste their whiskey. It's like top shelf whiskey, but with a little touch of some of these other flavor profiles.
I'm starting to understand when people like, oh, there's a hint of whatever. And you
so
can
what do you have a hint of in your mouth? Whiskey.
Whiskey. Why does my brain is like wood?
Wood, yes, exactly. So it's oak, so it's an American oak cask.
Shut up.
So that imparts kind of a smokiness. So the idea with behind this is 10-year anniversary whiskey. I wanted it to taste like meetings. Okay. So smoky.
like me.
like me.
Great. No. Sorry. Okay, yes. Like meetings. True.
Yeah,
smoky.
like meetings. Smoky. And there's a little bit of sweetness to it. I don't know if you picked that up a little bit, like a little caramel notes.
Yeah.
So no, maybe.
Just wood.
Just wood. Okay. But the sweetness, because we use maple wood to smoke all of our meats, and then we use a lot of brown sugar in our rubs, so a little bit of sweetness. So smoky sweetness. Little tagline: smoking meat, sipping whiskey.
Oh, no, that's good.
So that'd be
good for you, man. Congratulations. Okay, so we want to pour a little bit of a sip or two, right?
You want to do the honors?
Yeah. Oh my god.
So you can gauge how much you're gonna put in there.
By the way, to explain to everyone, I don't always wear a hockey jersey to do interviews, but I just had to match Matt's energy a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. You want to show off? So for people that are just listening, he's showing off his ass to the camera right now because he's got a ass full of meetings.
I really do.
But it's good. It's good branding. So, how much do you pour? Like just a little.
Like a 1 or 2 fingers.
Okay, that's how you measure?
Usually for your first time, you just go 1 finger, just to be safe.
It's for family content.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's explicit.
No, it is explicit content, or what is this? Is this a safe space?
It is a safe.
Okay.
Do you
Wow.
feel safe? Is that good? Is it too
That's
much?
a healthy portion. I'll probably take that one.
Okay.
And you can pour yourself half of that.
You're like, oh no. Okay, so half of that.
Yeah.
So just like, no.
Like a little bit more. Something like that.
You're teaching me.
There we go.
You have to teach me how this works.
There.
See, I'm not a great pourer. This was not.
That's
it's
your
fine.
first whiskey pour.
Yeah,
it's, okay.
it's fine. It's my initial. We'll properly place it there, so it's there. We'll keep I don't even need the Pepsi. That was actually genuinely good.
Victory.
That was smooth.
Amazing.
Yeah. It was
Love
really
that.
good.
Love that.
No, so thanks so much, Matt, for coming.
My
I think
pleasure.
people already know why I brought you on here.
For my whiskey, for my meat,
for
for the cowboy hat. I don't know.
for everything, I guess. So a little bit of context. I know you, but I don't know you.
Yeah, I
Like,
could agree.
We've briefly met a couple times.
A few times.
We've talked at wedding shows and trade shows and stuff.
Yeah.
But I officially met you during the nice COVID season,
Beautiful. Yes.
2020. And there was just this guy, smoking up a pig at a wedding. And I'm like, oh, I'll go talk to him. He
Yeah.
seems nice.
Wow, I actually forgot about that. That's a great call on the
Yeah.
memory bank. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was in August 2020, and I went to go see you. I just thought you were someone working for the catering company.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, this is sick. Have you been doing this for a while? You're like, yeah. So we talked for a good 20 minutes before I
did.
realized that you were the owner of this. So I'm like, oh, that's sick. Good for them,
Yeah.
It's good business.
Yeah.
And then you kind of explained what you guys were going through during the COVID season. And I was like, oh, you're sick. Let's be friends,
Let's be
please.
friends.
But can you give, for people that have no clue what meetings is, who you are, Matt?
Okay.
Can you give a little bit of background? When people ask you, what do you do dressed up like this? What do you say?
I like to have fun.
You
I like to party,
That's it.
basically. I like to
Okay.
party. And honestly, that's kind of
Professionally.
how... Exactly. I'm a professional partier.
I'm
I'm a facilitator of fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oof, I would hire, I get that. Is that on your LinkedIn?
And my LinkedIn's being updated right now, so I'm adding in some of these key descriptive
key
words for me.
descriptions.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, Meetings was founded in 2012 in Cumberland. So I grew up in Cumberland in the
hood.
boonies.
Okay.
In the boonies, my house is in the middle of a farm field, and I had dropped out of university in 2011. Had no idea what the heck to do with my life. Had some crappy part-time jobs here and there. Can I swear? Or no?
Yes.
Shitty part-time jobs. Let me tell you. And then I started. My dad bought a green egg smoker.
Okay.
And I moved back home with my dad, as every university dropout does. And
Just for the smoker.
just for the
else.
smoker,
Yeah.
exactly.
You're like, oh,
thanks, Dad. I
thanks.
love you. Shout out to my dad, #1 fan.
Of course.
And so he got this green egg smoker, and I was the first person to cook on it. So I
Oh.
smoked these ribs. They were absolutely terrible, terrible. I smoked them for 8 hours, way too long, and they were garbage. But I honestly
You're like, I need to do this.
I need to do this again. How am I going to make this better next time?
Okay.
And so, I kept on trying to recreate different kinds of recipes. This show, Epic Mealtime.
Yeah.
Never see them?
Yeah.
Jack Daniels and bacon strips and bacon strips and bacon strips and
strips.
bacon strips. I had the t-shirt and all, and I was a huge fan. So that would come out on Tuesday. I would try and recreate it on Friday or Saturday. So I started having my friends over, getting the boys, a little drunk and stoned, smoking a little weed, sipping whiskey. Mm-hmm. And I would try and recreate these epic meals.
Oh, you would try to redo it.
But instead of going to McDonald's and Burger King and all that shit that they were doing,
yeah.
I'd go to La Valne, so a local butcher in Navan, and I would get some good quality meats, and I would still try and make these epic meals. Obviously,
no
a lot
way.
of bacon strips, and I would literally be pouring Jack Daniels on the bacon strips, on the meat. And
did you document any of this? Or
oh,
was it just for fun?
there's some good documentation.
Okay.
Not to the level we do now. Obviously, I wish we would have known each other back then. I could have leveraged our talents. But it was the old flip phones, taking pictures and whatnot.
As long as you have proof,
Hey man, there's some good
matters.
stuff there. And so honestly, almost every weekend for that summer in 2011, I'd get them over and feed them. And I started developing, people talk about an entrepreneurship and business passion. Like some people think, oh, I'm born with a passion, or like, how do I find my passion?
It's like for you, like bacon is it? No.
Bacon is my passion.
Yes.
But I started developing this passion, this like excitement over food. I grew up, European family, so there was always good food on the table. Wine when I was 12 years old. So unlike you, I started drinking early, a little early. Thanks to mom and dad and grandparents. And
good
exactly, good influences. But look where I am now, guys.
I mean, yeah.
And
that's why you're here.
That's
why you do this, guy.
Exactly. And so I did that for a full summer, and then my dad and I borrowed one of his friend's old oil drums to do a pig roast.
Okay.
We had seen this thing about pig roast online. I was like, I want to do a fucking pig roast. So his mechanic at work had this old oil drum. It was powered by a bicycle wheel and a dryer motor. So an old dryer motor that turns. So it had a belt system, and it would basically turn the pig. My dad and I were like shuffling the charcoal around. Super sketchy.
You trusted it? You're like, oh yeah.
Well, I trusted it in this moment. It was my first time doing it. Had a lot of family friends. Then after we served everybody, it actually turned out legit. Like it was really fucking good. People were like, man, like this whole experience was so cool, so fun. Can you bring it to my dad's 50th birthday party? I was like, me bring this thing? It's a hunk of junk. Like again, somebody else asked me like, oh, my parents' anniversary is coming up this summer. Can you bring this thing and do a pig roast for them? Huh. I was like, that's weird. Somebody else said, oh, it's my whatever birthday party coming up like this fall. Can you bring this thing? It's like 3 people at this party were asking me to bring this hunk of junk to their house because they had such a good time at this party. So I was like, huh.
There's demand.
And I was like, would you pay me? Like, how would this work? And like, yeah, like how much would it cost? And I was like, I have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
Talk about charging for yourself. We'll get into that.
Yeah, that's hard.
It's always a struggle.
Yeah.
And so, party was done, go home, everyone goes home, bring this hunk of junk back to the dude's house. And 2 weeks later, Dragon's Den. I'm sure you've watched some Dragon's Den in your time.
Yeah.
There was this company from St. Catharines, Ontario, this old Scottish couple, and this guy's wheeling on this pig roaster. Stainless steel, beautiful, shining under the spotlights, 4 beautiful wheels. Like he's holding it with one hand, pulling it on. With this big old one that we used, it took 4 dudes to lift it and move it around. So I was like, holy shit, like what are the chances of seeing this pig roasting company on Dragon's Den, which I loved Dragon's Den at the time.
Love Dragon's Den.
2 weeks after doing this fucking party. So I was like, hey, this is too weird. And they're talking about how they patented this machine. They manufacture them in St. Catharines. They also have this catering franchise model that they're trying to sell pig out roasters.
What?
And I was like, whoa, this is too coincidental. So I Googled them right away. Just so happens, a couple weeks later, they're doing a demo in Ottawa.
Shut up.
So this barbecue store in Canada, who I still talk to, Capital Barbecue, they're hosting this demo of this pig roaster, and they sell this pig roaster. So I messaged one of my best friends who was part of the whole cooking experience, like, man, we gotta fucking go to this.
Yeah.
So we go there, I meet with the owners, they're super nice, talking to me about, and I was telling them, I'm a university dropout, I have no culinary experience, but I love to cook, my friends love my food. Like, oh man, no problem, it's so easy to use. Why don't you come down to St. Catharines to Niagara Falls for the weekend and stay at our place, we'll take you out to an event, show how it works. It's like, I'm just some random kid, out in Cumberland, and you guys are inviting me to your place. And then so I think it was about like a month and a half later, I went down to Niagara Falls, stayed with them at their house. They brought me to their warehouse, showed me how they were, they're operating, how they manufacture these things. They taught me how to put the pig on the spit, a real spit compared to this hunk of junk they said I was using before. And they said, okay, tomorrow we're going to the Man Show. The Man Show's this event, a bunch of trade show people are going to be there, different kinds of booths, and we have a booth set up. We're going to be serving the pig. So I said, okay, let's go. So I show up the next day to this trade center, and they said, give me a chef jacket, put me in a chef jacket, which I'd never worn before in my life. Here I am, like all proper, buttons all done up, looking fancy and cute.
Like today.
Like today, kind of. And then so I go in and follow our chef along. He's gonna show you how to carve it, how to pull the meat off. And so I did that, and I was kind of super into the moment, just watching this guy do it. And I remember all of a sudden I look up and there's 100 dudes in line. And I was like, my second aha moment of like, oh shit, there's a demand for this.
Oh, there's a massive
It's not just
demand
my
for
3
it.
friends like at home, that want to like party, whatever. There's people that want this pig roast, and like the whole experience, the smell of it in the air. I was like, shit, okay. So then
something's here, yeah.
Spent the rest of the weekend with them. Came back home like, Dad, I want to buy this fucking roaster. Like, he's like, how much is it? I was like, $5,000. He's like, buddy, you have no money in your bank account. You just dropped out of university. You have a part-time job. Like, save up some money. Maybe we'll talk. I'm like, no, like I needed this now.
Yeah.
And so for a couple of weeks, I was so persistent. Dad, please, I'll pay you back. I promise it's going to work. He's like, no, man, like, you have no experience. Aside from your friends, no one's going to fucking hire you. And, but secretly, he was going behind my back, and he talked with the owners of this company.
Oh, no
He
way.
reached out to them, and he's like, so, like, what's the deal, blah, blah, blah. And so one day he sits me down at the kitchen table, and he's like, hey, Matt, you know, you've been so persistent with this, and, like, I love your energy. I've worked out a deal for you. I have a proposition. I was like, okay. He's like, okay, so you're going to sell your car.
I remember you
I had a
telling me you sold your
2005
car.
Toyota Matrix, beautiful car, my second car, like all pimped out, speaker system, tinted wheels, mags, you know, boss.
100%.
I'm like, okay. And he's like, I'll let you use my truck for the first year, sell your car, and we'll start this thing.
Oh my God.
So I literally sold my car for $9,000, bought this $5,000 pig roaster, a $4,000 trailer, and used my dad's Dodge Ram 1500 at the time to haul this thing around. And so in May 2012, I hosted my first meeting. And my concept with meetings was going to be I'd host a meeting, which would be the pig roast. And then I partnered with Bo's Brewery. You know,
Okay.
Bo's in
Yes.
They were the big brewery at the time, one of the first ones, obviously, to market.
Yeah, they dominated.
And then my dad and I made a bunch of outdoor games. So we had like cornhole, washer toss. And the idea was like, I'm hosting a meeting. And that was the whole idea. Pig, beer, games.
Okay.
Hosted the first meeting at my dad's house again in Cumberland, had a bunch of family and friends over, and then those people that were asking me, okay, can you do this party for me? I was like, okay, this is my pricing. I worked with the company in Pig Out Roasters to create kind of pricing and understand like, okay, what's food cost? You know,
so
you have no
sick.
idea.
Yes,
you
yeah,
know,
when you're
off,
not
you have
in
no
it.
idea.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they gave me some costing structures, and then I pitched it to some friends. Some friends started hiring me. And then someone from Bo's Brewery found out about what I was doing, and they were getting married in the fall. And they called me up like, yo, Matt, heard about meetings. Do you do weddings? I was like, what is weddings? Like, what do you mean? I hadn't been to a wedding since I was like 6 years old. And I didn't know what catering was really. And so I went and met with them, sat down with them at their place in Van Cleek Hill. And they started asking me all these other questions. Well, can you do chicken? Can you do ribs? Can you do side dishes? Can you do salads? Can you get tables, chairs, and a tent?
Oh my God.
Writing all this down.
Like, sure, yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course I can. You know,
yeah,
be
you
the yes man,
out.
the yes woman. You're just like, yeah, of course I could do that. No problem.
No problem. Yeah, I'll figure it out.
And so yeah, I jotted down all my notes and then left. I was like, hey, thank you. You know, I'll reach out to you guys in a couple of days. And then went back home, called up grandma and grandpa. So can you make salads for 100 people?
Oh my God.
They're like, what? And I was like, well, these people want me to cater their wedding and they want salads and you guys make the delicious salads. And so, you know, after some hesitation, they're like, sure, we can.
Okay.
I'm like, can you guys like tell me how much it would cost to like make these salads? And then went to Robertson Rental where my dad used to work. And I said, you know, I needed tables and chairs and a tent. And basically got everything together, sent them the price. They said, okay. A couple months later, we went out to Van Cleek Hill, my dad, my best friend, myself, and catered this wedding.
Did it go
well? It was a medieval themed wedding.
Oh, shit.
So they came in full outfits.
Standard
horses,
wedding.
The big joust. I was like, what am I getting myself into here? But it was honestly incredible. It was so much fun. People were coming up to us after like, oh my God, the food was amazing. Bride and groom hugging me.
Oh,
just like,
that's the best feeling.
Whoa,
yeah.
right? That's the shit right there. That's what makes it all worth it, you know?
All of it,
all the hard work worth it. And so yeah, I catered this wedding, and then when we were cleaning up, this other couple comes over, like, oh, like we loved everything about the experience here. We're getting married next fall. Like, could you cater our wedding? And I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? You know, it's just everything's happening so fast, and you know, got their contact, and then that's basically how meetings catering was born in 2012.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about selling your car. That's the only part I knew, because I was like, so how did this get started? You're like, I sold my car to get the smoker, and here we are. And I'm like, sick, all right. Yeah. But the fact that like all that stuff lined up, but you pretty much just took every opportunity, and you're like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Let me just go be with these random people I've never met and go to their place and go see it. And
figure it out, man. Figure it out. I look back and I still have that same like journal basically, and I look back at the notes and I'm like, it's all chicken scratch obviously, but I'm just like, it's actually crazy. You didn't know, like, little did you know, little Matt, little did you know. Little 20-year-old Matt, 22-year-old Matt would freak out if he knew the shit he'd get into. It's crazy. It's crazy. So if that's your beginning, where are you at now? I know you have multiple locations, you do a lot of stuff. What's going on? Yeah, now we do a lot of stuff. We have a team of almost around 50, 60 people right now. We have our main location, which is now being converted to a food production facility.
Shit.
Yeah. So like when we
Good
first
for you.
met, we had signed the lease for this place, and the idea was before COVID, because we basically moved from my dad's garage to a commercial kitchen, then rented the bowling alley in Orleans for 2 years. Then people were like, okay, man, like I want to get your food without having 50 people for a private event. So we opened our first takeout restaurant on Saint Joseph in Orleans.
Wow. Okay.
Small little 20-seat restaurant, super cute, full of wood and smoke and meat. And then after a year of that, we grew out of that space. So we had to get a separate location for our catering. So we had a catering kitchen. We had a restaurant, both like 1,000 square feet.
Wow.
And after like a year and a half, we were busting out of the seams. We had to get a shipping container at our catering kitchen. It was just
Too much.
crazy, too much.
Yeah.
So then for about a year, I was trying to find a place that would have both the restaurant and the catering kitchen all in one.
Okay.
Looked all over the city, and then finally found this place on Montreal Road, Canatech Park.
Yes.
And the idea when we signed in December 2019, great time. So optimistic
Great
then, right?
time,
Everything was
yeah.
great.
Oh yeah.
And so the idea was to have a 60-seat restaurant, a catering kitchen, and an office space.
Sick.
And then took possession in January 2020.
Nice.
Started doing some renos. March, everyone's favorite
Whee!
favorite weekend of the year, March 14th, 15th,
Yes.
16th of 2020. I remember very well. We had a 1,000-person event lined up on the Saturday, and then on the Friday got the call that it shut down.
Oh.
And we had spent, we were doing like
You had all
pastrami,
the
smoked
food.
meat. So we were not just like regular brisket, we were doing smoked meat because it was for St. Patty's Day, so like corned beef. So it's a 14-day curing process.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was fun times.
Fun. Oh, it's
Fun
nice to
times.
think about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then, so closed the restaurant down, started vacuum sealing meats to sold them on Facebook for 48 hours, sold out of everything. And then
Oh wow.
that's what basically created this new division of our company. So
Okay.
now at our
You
Canatech
pivoted
location,
well then.
yeah, it's kind of
You're
crazy
like,
looking back on it
"Let's
now.
figure it
Let's
out."
figure it out,
No.
man. I remember pacing up and down my kitchen and my living room in my house, like freaking the fuck out,
Yeah.
Have to lay off our staff, have all
Oh,
this
God.
product. What the hell are we going to do?
What are you gonna do?
And then look back on the pictures. It's like, oh, March 17th, we started taking photo shoots of all of our products. I was like, wow, we turned that around pretty
You
quick.
did
guys.
it.
Like, it was
Wow.
pretty good. Great team effort.
You just sat down and you got back up.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
let's go.
yeah.
There's no sitting
There's
down
no staying
here.
down. No chance. And then, now we have Canatech, which we're converting to a full food production facility.
Good
so
for you.
we're trying to get more of our wholesale retail stuff into grocery stores, bigger grocery stores. So we're talking with like Farm Boy and
Oh my
Metro
God.
and Sobeys.
That's a whole other game.
It's a whole other game. Yeah, it's crazy. So for like our sauces, our rubs, which you got a little
I
treat
got a
for
little,
later
I got a little gift.
for you and your future hubby.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we have our office space there. We have a 200-seat restaurant in the Sensplex,
Yeah.
Sensplex East, where you dropped off your wonderful photo booth apparatuses for our
Hey.
staff party. And then we have a kitchen inside of Broadhead Brewery in Orleans.
Okay.
So beer and barbecue, obviously go hand in hand
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
well. So it's been almost 2 years that we've been in there now. It's a great partnership. They make delicious beer. We make good barbecue. So we have our staff that work the kitchen there. We have a great little tap room menu. And then catering. Still doing catering, obviously, all over the city, sorry. But wedding season is now
Wedding
among
season
us.
is here.
We have first wedding weekend this weekend.
Yeah?
And,
It's your first one. Yeah, it's the start.
Team's going out and prep's already started. And it's crazy.
Oh,
It's,
that's so cool,
it's
man.
nuts, man. It's
I had
nuts.
no
Have our own
clue.
whiskey. We have a
Yeah.
couple beers. So when we partnered with Broadhead Brewery, we also have 2 beers that they made for us. So I had this crazy idea of calling them Meetings Barbecue beers. So one is called Ribs and one is called Brisket. Doesn't taste like ribs or brisket like some people think, but it's meant to pair with them.
Okay.
So I tried all of Broadhead's beers with ribs and brisket, our Meetings Ribs and Brisket, and tried each one. And so I
Just
learned
get
from
drunk all
the
the time. That's what you're telling me. Yeah.
I'm a facilitator of fun times,
Exactly.
Lexi.
That's what you are.
And
Yes.
so I tried their beers and would try with the different types of food. And then so the brewmaster was telling me there's like complement, contrast, and cut. So when you're
Okay.
pairing stuff,
Yeah.
you want to either complement the flavor or with the
Contrast.
brisket, you cut it. So it's so fatty with the brisket.
Okay.
So you cut it with American wheat, which is very citrusy and light and bright. And then the ribs beer is complementary because it's sweet, the sweet rub that we put on the ribs. And a lager has like same kind of caramel notes in it. So we have 2 beers, we have whiskey, and we like to party, like you said.
So like I like how you're like, oh, I wasn't a cook type of guy, you just made food and now you're talking about like citrusy and now like this, you know what I mean? You've become the like chef in you, you know?
Yeah, it's coming out a little bit.
Do you consider it, like, you call yourself, do you see that as
They
your...
know.
They know.
No, we have chefs on our team now, which I'm like so
Thank
amazed
God.
by that we have chefs on our team. Like, you know, to have a team of chefs and trained professionals that are much more skilled and have evolved our brand very much over the past years. Yes. Now, honestly, I spend most of my time in the office.
Yeah, eh?
But I have a sick corner office, so like I'm very proud of my office.
When you say a corner office too, it's just
right?
like a little like, haha.
You know, like we talk about like manifesting ideas, and I've always manifested that I would have a corner office.
Corner office. I guess technically I have a corner on the office.
Exactly, right? The corner on the corner of the street.
Wow.
And you drive by it and you can't miss it.
Like, sorry, I'm at my corner office. Is that what you say to people?
No, this is honestly one of the first times that I bring it up.
But good for you though. So you saw it. Could you visualize it when you first started? Like, oh, this could be a thing, or you were just so focused on like getting it figured out, you never.
At first, I was very like blinders on. Okay, like one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And then like business just really excited me. I took entrepreneurship in high school.
Okay.
I kind of thought I would be some kind of business owner, but then I remember the mentors that come in. You know, they're all in suits and they're all like businessy.
I mean, you're technically in a suit.
I'm in a suit, but you know, a fun suit.
Exactly.
Not that suits aren't fun, but you know, I just kind of had this idea of what like a businessman, or a business person, woman,
No, I know. I get what you
business
mean.
person.
No, when you think business, you do think of a businessman with like a suitcase, and they're like very stereotypical assigned to that.
We've changed what a
Hockey
businessman
jerseys, baby.
is. Exactly.
Right? No, but it's true.
And I sucked at math. I failed grade 10 math. And, you know, to get into business school, you had to be good at math. So I kind of copped out and I was like, oh, I'm going to be a teacher. And so I went to school to be a teacher, but went to school in New Brunswick and it was too far. And anyways, didn't work out for me.
I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs go towards the teacher route because managing a class is like managing a team and a business. Yes. Like there's a lot of entrepreneurship in teachers.
There is.
So I feel like it vibes because there's a few people that I've talked to. Like I was supposed to be a teacher.
Really?
That was my first route. So as if that you wanted to be a teacher too.
Here we are now. Let's cheers to that.
Go this way. Hey. Am I gonna be a whiskey girl now?
Wow.
Is that my new identity?
I mean,
I'll introduce myself. Hi.
I'm proud of you that you haven't put the Pepsi
girl.
in here now.
No, I swear. Like, maybe it's a problem.
It's dangerous. It's a slippery slope.
No, but it's genuinely nice. Like, I'm not, you know, sometimes you drink a new alcohol and you just go like, oh, God.
I know.
Then you'd help. But
so that's the part of, like, it being aged for 3 years in the virgin cask. It really takes on a lot of, like, the that you get like, you know, in your throat where it's like burning, whereas now it's like a mild burn and like kind of just like spreads across your body. You know? As I'm touching my meat across the cornbread and the brisket.
He's talking about the suit. For people listening, he's not touching his meat. He's touching the meat on his suit. I mean, we're a family show.
Yes. Yes.
But no, that's so cool, and I think that's why like I wanted to bring you on because that's such a particular story too.
Yes.
Like it's not like, oh wow, I like this meat. Let me do this. It kind of just went like, oh shit, it's happening, and you figured it out, and you always did big things. So like the fact that you have like a million things going on, do you like how do you manage? Do you have a work-life balance?
I do now. Honestly, one good thing about COVID is it for a lot of people too, it you know, like it slaps you in the face and you're like, hey, what are priorities? You know, I haven't seen my family in so long. I haven't seen friends. I've been putting off things that are important to me.
More than 10 years.
Exactly. And like 10 years of a lot of, as you know, our businesses are very weekend oriented and they're very summer oriented, right? Yeah. The amount of birthday parties and cottages and golf weekends and
it's a sacrifice
for 10 years of your life. You're like, shit. Okay. And then you look back and you're like, hey, like I'm 30 now. And like, what have I done? And like, yeah, I've worked and built this amazing business, but like, what about all these other things that excite me and I'm passionate about and love to do? So
what are your hobbies? Do you have hobbies? I don't have hobbies yet.
You don't have hobbies yet?
I mean, this could be.
Yeah, I have lots of
go-to thing that's outside of work. What's your go-to thing?
Wow. My go-to thing. I love just honestly going out and having like new experiences. I love being like a tourist within our city. You know, so many people are like, Ottawa's so boring. Like there's so nothing to do in Ottawa, but there's a lot of cool shit. It's not that bad. You know, there's a lot of cool things to do.
There's a lot of cool people in Ottawa.
There is a lot of cool people, and I love making new connections, meeting new people, and hearing about their experiences. And yeah, honestly, recently I've been getting a lot into my my spirituality side. You know, doing a lot of meditation.
Right. I
Yes.
did see that.
Being
I
zen.
did see that. But it's good for you though.
It's
especially
very good for you.
especially
Very
if
good
you
for
have
you.
a,
Especially when you have a busy, crazy, psychotic hamster wheel mind that never stops going. You know,
yeah.
everyone forgets to take time for themselves and like just be alone with your thoughts and just kind of let them come
Be
in. And
alone
let
with
them
your
leave.
thoughts. That's
Creep-
sounds
it's scary. I know.
scary.
Yeah, it can be sometimes, but it's also beautiful and amazing at the same time. And
That's so sick.
yeah,
What
so-
made you? I guess everything slowing down made you aware of that, like that lack in your life. I guess that you were like, I need to fulfill
kind
this,
of,
or
kind of. How deep do you want to get here?
I mean, I have whiskey in me, so I'm.
Okay.
Depends. Do you want to open up about it? If you don't want to,
Sure,
you don't
I
have
love to share my experiences because I feel like a lot of us have gone through it or going through it. So obviously during COVID, you know, like I said, business has gone to shits, everything, and what happens when your life's going to shit?
Yeah, it's
You
hard
end
on
up
you.
in a depressive mindset, and you get
course.
anxious, and
It's hard on anybody.
it's hard on anybody. So yeah, I definitely went through a rough time. So yeah, I was very depressed and unsure of my purpose in life, my business's future, all this kind of shit. And yeah, so I tried going to therapy.
Yeah,
Traditional methods of going to see therapists, and
it didn't really work.
didn't
for
really
you?
work. Couldn't break down like the barrier. Growing up as a sports dude, it was always like you got to be tough.
The
You got to
beard
be a
and-
man, a beard. Like you got to drink whiskey and just let it all go. And I was like,
Hell yeah.
it's not working so well for me. And then so I talked to a family friend who is a psychotherapist, and I had recently been doing some research on psychedelic assisted therapy.
Oh no way! What'd you do?
So I got introduced to this guy in Ottawa who is performing these kinds of ceremonies, and he works with psychotherapists.
That's so cool. Yeah, because they're yes.
Yeah.
I've heard a little bit.
It's still illegal, but it's progressing very
Yes.
quickly. Health Canada is doing a lot of studies on it.
yes, that it helps a lot.
And it
I know.
changed my life.
Okay,
Changed
sick.
my life 100%. So I met with this dude, did an hour of just like breath work with him
Okay.
at his apartment downtown Ottawa, super sketchy and
Normal.
random. But like as soon as he walked into the room and this guy like came to the door, I was like, okay.
He just had a thing.
He
to him.
has this energy, this calming energy.
No way.
And so I did this hour of like breath work with him, and just developed this like connection with him, and like fucking gave him a hug after. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And so he kind of said, okay, well, do you want to embark on this
Trip.
this journey, this ceremony, trip is
Yeah.
different way to put it, but yeah.
No. Sorry, maybe if it's not the right term,
It is.
correct me.
It is.
Teach me.
It was he calls it a ceremony.
Yes.
It's a ceremony.
It is a ceremony.
It's a ceremony with the intention of trying to rid and understand and face the traumas that you've been dealt with in your life, to be able to process them, understand them, learn to love them rather than hate them.
Okay.
So much of us, are embarrassed of our anxieties and our depressions.
Yeah.
And don't talk about them, don't want to deal with them, kind of just try and push them down.
Yeah.
But the only way to get through them is to bring them up, look at them in the fucking eye.
In
and
the
be
face.
Like, okay, I see you. I understand you're part of me now, but I don't want you to define me.
Okay.
So I've learned
That
all
is
that
deep
through.
shit.
It's very deep shit, very deep shit, yeah. And so he sent me this, instructions on how to prepare for this first ceremony. And I went in and did the first one about 3 weeks later, and it's mind-blowing.
Okay.
It's fucking mind-blowing. And so, yeah, I did psilocybin and MDMA
Okay.
within like 2 hours of each other. I'm blindfolded,
Oh,
weighted
shit.
blanket. Music is guiding basically the whole experience. And it was wild. It was wild. I saw shit. Like I had intentions going into it of what I wanted to try and see or deal with, or,
Face.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it surfaced up, and some other things surfaced up. And after I got up from, the high, basically, and took the blindfolds off, and I was like, holy shit. Like that was fucking wild. And he's like, comes over, and he's like, man, that was all you. Like that was so beautiful. And I was like, wow. Yeah, mind blowing. And
How do you continue after that? Like
So
you
I-
just leave and you're like,
yeah, you have to. You sit there for a while. Like you sit for 2 hours. You
okay,
talk.
there is a process.
There's a process.
So you're not just like,
Integration.
goodbye, have a good one.
No,
and
no,
you go back to your
no. He has a beautiful little table of snacks. So he's got like chocolate covered nuts and grapes and cheeses and soup, and very well taken care of.
Oh, that's
I'm sitting
so
there, and
nice.
he's incense is going, so you're very calm, and he's kind of documenting what you're saying, and you kind of just chat. And
As you go through it. So
as
he
you're
guides
going
you
through it,
through
trying
it?
to process it and everything, and he's kind of giving you feedback onto how he interprets what you've gone through and felt and seen.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful, like absolutely incredible. And so I hung out there. It started at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And I left his house at 1 a.m.
Oh,
so it's
dang.
a full experience. And I did that 3 times.
Did you expect it? Was it what you expected it
no
to
idea.
be?
No.
Yeah, no intention, no expectation. Almost, you just went in.
I had done some research
it.
and stuff, but there's so many different variations of how it gets applied, and the sitter, the guide who's with you, everyone has their different, methods of working with people. Okay. So this was again, I was never spiritual or anything whatsoever before. I thought it was, fluffy, whatever, foo-foo stuff, stuff. But like, no,
I like that you call it, that it was a ceremony and like an event. I saw in your eyes, like, don't call it a trip. You're like, no, it's okay. But it's from people that have no idea, or they're not educated, or they just have no clue what it is.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh yeah, you went on a trip, but to me, like, trip is a journey.
Yes.
So I kind of meant it that way.
I understand.
But it's when you don't know. I had no idea what psychedelics were at all, and I had someone talk to me about how she was hosting these ceremonies and helping these women kind of going through some. I'm like, you go, girl. Like, if you want to rent my studio, come up and do them. Right? And then someone explained to me, like, you do know what they are, and I was like, oh, okay, I better understand what it was. But I that's how I did my research on it. Okay. And I saw how much is being done for it, and the effects and the help that it provides to a lot of people. Yes. And when you don't know, when you don't do your research, all you hear is like, yo, they're getting high, they're going on a trip, and they're just doing shit, rather than like, no, there's an intention to this.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. I'm glad you said that. Like, one of the most important parts is setting intention. Yeah. What is the purpose of you taking these? And now I don't refer them to as drugs. It's plant medicine, because it's literally fungi from the ground that grows naturally from Mother Nature. That is somehow banned, but that's a whole other story.
How the world works.
Exactly. Crazy. So I did 3 sessions about a month apart each one, and it was so transformational, going from like how I felt from the first experience ceremony to the last one. Like, I
feeling day to day,
changed my life.
That's so
my
cool.
perspective of life, of myself, of other people, how I interact, the importance level I've talked about. Like, that's how we got into this, is the importance of, family and taking time for yourself. And that's what it really opened my eyes to it. So it wasn't
like made it clear for you what you wanted to do, what was important. Oh shit. That's sick. No, I feel like it's so important to talk about this stuff too. And I think there's a lot of like stigma and like bullshit around it because of the terms, or how it's explained or sold almost to people, or how you see it in movies. Yes,
exactly. Well, for my research, it all started like around the 60s when Nixon was president in the States, and there's the war on drugs. So basically, they were actually doing research, the same kind of research they're doing now, on how it can improve people's mental health. And they're working with people with PTSD who had gone to war and stuff, come back, couldn't fucking function. And then so they were taking these medicines, but then it got out to the public. This guy, not Rick Doblin, but anyways, another guy took it, and then he brought it to like these music festivals, and then everybody was on it, and then people were like taking it recreationally, and they're like, okay, there was like a term that was going around, like drop off and drop out, like drop out of university, don't join the military. So then obviously the president of the States was like, okay, we can't have all these people, not contributing to the industrialization of America, so we're going to put a substance one ban on all of these drugs. God. And now it's the war on drugs, even though they're plants that go from the ground. Same thing with now cannabis is legal. It was illegal for so long. That's when it started. So now that you're seeing this resurgence of it because of the, there was the pandemic, but the bigger epidemic was mental health. So many people went through it because everyone's locked up, couldn't do the shit they wanted to do. And so now there's this huge resurgence and need almost for these ceremonies or plant medicine times where you can take it by yourself or with a guide or whomever, to help alleviate all of this shit that we feel inside of us. Holy shit. But I know so many, like when I was sharing it with friends, it's so many of us, so many people are dealing with it because life's fucking hard, man.
Life is not easy.
And what just happened for the last 2 years makes it even harder. So
it was hard on everyone on different levels for sure. And it's also how you took it that made a massive difference. There's people chilling and they're like, this is the best time of my life. Yay. And then there's us that was like, holy fuck, what's going on?
I don't qualify for CERB, so how am I going to pay rent and pay my mortgage and
everything else? But you more than survived it. You're thriving now.
It's crazy. Yeah, we somehow grew, like staff-wise, revenue-wise. Coming out of COVID, it was, and we have this whole new revenue stream and whole new vision of our company now. That's
you stuck to it. You stuck to it so hard because like everyone else that's in, you're in the restaurant industry, you're in the food industry, which was the biggest one that just like got knocked the fuck out.
Oh, you're closed tomorrow. All that food that you have, you can't use it anymore.
Just kidding. I love that for you.
And for weddings, you can only have 10 people instead of the 150 that you had booked. Okay, so maybe 30, maybe 40.
Maybe I like the rebels that were like, we counted you once for the whole table. It's fine.
Exactly.
It was just, it depended on your perspective of it, how you took it.
There's
like
such a wide range of like people that were like, no, I'm abiding by this, and people that were like,
everyone had a unique experience relating to this. So for me, it was so exciting to see like, so this is what happens when everyone's going through shit all at the same time. Like this is how people react, is that everyone has their individual way to deal with shit. And it was just an individual. So I like to see it that you made it more than on top, you're killing it. You're killing the game. I was like, wow, I'm honored that you take the time to come here when you have the time. But again, you figured out what's important to you. But I absolutely love your energy, Matt.
Thank you.
I'm so happy I met you that one time and I was like, I want to be your friend.
Hey man, everything happens for a reason.
100%. I always say that life's a joke. You want to have a good joke.
A great joke. I want to people fucking laughing when I'm done. That guy was fucking hilarious. He had a good time.
That's great. Is there anything that you want to share with everyone looking like about meetings? Do you have anything that's coming up that you want to?
Wow. We have an exciting summer coming up. If you have any weddings, corporate events, backyard parties, you want some meat at, some cornbread. We also have delicious vegetarian options as well.
Nice.
Smoked jackfruit. Very nice. We have these meatless balls, so no meat in the balls. Kind of like a meatball, but no meat.
No meat. That's nice.
Yeah. I am recently gluten intolerant, so all of our meats, all of our sauces, all of it didn't happen so graciously as that, but thank you. But I used to stop at Broadhead Brewery. My house is in Cumberland. Canatech Road is at work. Broadhead's right in the middle. We serve our food there. Stop and have, 1, 2, sometimes, no, just 2 New England IPAs, delicious beer. And all of a sudden, one day, I couldn't finish the beer. I started burping. I'm like, what the fuck? Did I eat something?
What's going on?
Whatever. Go home, come back a couple days later, try and sip the beer again. One sip, and I'm like, what's going on? And then eating bread later and realizing I'm like, okay, there's something has changed in my body. And then I went to a gastrologist and did all the testing. He's like, you're not celiac, but you're basically very, very intolerant to the glutens.
Welcome to that team of people. I think I'm part of them, but I'm in denial stage right now.
I've been in denial. I was in denial for a while, and I still cheat, man. Like I fucking love beer. I love bread. I love pizza. I love all the.
You just go through the pain for it.
Yeah, when I'm hanging with my friends, I'm like, sorry for the gases that are gonna come out of here and there.
They're just included in the service.
It's part of the perks. It's part of the joke, It's part of the joke of life.
Part of the perks. I like the perks instead.
The perks of hanging out with Mat Flosse.
Well, thanks so much, Matt, for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for everyone for listening to this, going through our bad humor. And if you want to check out Matt, check out everything meetings.
Meetings. Follow us on social media. Check out our website, meetings.ca. We didn't even talk about Flo's Garden.
Oh, you have too many things going on. You'll have
we also
to
have a wedding
back.
venue in Cumberland, Flo's Garden, associated with meetings. It's pretty cool. We have a lot of events coming up. We have yoga every second Monday. We have some retreats going on.
That's
if you want to take a Saturday or Sunday off away from work and come focus on yourself. Priorities.
In 2 years.
In 2 years, no. And we have a lot of fun things happening there this summer. So stay tuned.
Congrats for everything, man.
Thank you.
That's sick.
Congrats to you too. It's exciting seeing the Lexine brand.
Oh, the yellow. I mean,
The yellow,
I had
baby.
to match your
I'm a Bruins
energy,
fan,
man.
so black and yellow is like, I almost wore my Bruins hat. I wanted to, but the staff said, no, you gotta wear your cowboy hat. I'm like the show pony for work, you know?
I see that.
My show pony,
It's
get out
very-
there, get out there. I'm like,
Go sell the whiskey.
exactly, yeah, let's go sell the whiskey.
Oh, that's sick. Thanks for everyone for watching the show.
Thank
Please
you.
follow Matt, and we'll see you next time.